What's up, profitable stylist? We are coming at you live. We are talking about treatment buns. It is trending right now.
Christmas.
And Merry Christmas. Oh, look at you,
And
all festive with your holiday cup, with your Christmas cup.
treatment buns.
Treatment buns.
Listen, I want to show you my notes on treatment buns this morning. I was actually actually first thing I did was I wrote down treatment buns, but I really got excited when you the other day said, "Hey, treatment buns is trending on the internet," and I'm like, "Where? I didn't see it. Can we talk about it?" I thought, yes, I got excited. And I think that's interesting that we're in two different places on this. We're going to argue about this today, guys, because Eddie is not with the trend, doesn't agree with the trend or doesn't like it. And what was your goal today? To do what to me?
So my goal today is to ask you a couple of questions. Logical, makes sense. Try to convince you that this trend is ridiculous, and I hope anybody watching this will then listen to reason and realize that it sounded good and maybe one picture looked good, but this is a terrible, terrible idea.
Idea.
Terrible.
That's hilarious. Because I'm looking at it, I mean, maybe you will say something that makes me think, oh, wow, my initial thoughts are wrong. But the first thing I'm thinking is conditioning treatments, any kind of treatments on the hair is usually a good thing.
Usually is, right?
Right. And what an exciting new way to convince customers to do it. Convince my own hairdressers. We don't do enough of these services that could make more money, make people's hair better, feel better, look better, and make more money. My goodness. But just either, I kind of would like to do a poll sometime in the near future. What is your busiest week of the year? Is it the week before Christmas or the week before New Year's? Because I know it kind of flip-flops for some hairdressers. But it's got to be this week or next week is your busiest week of the year, or at least it should be. And so some of you stylists are still posting, I have openings. I have time for a haircut tomorrow. And I'm thinking, you should be slammed right now. You didn't do something right during the year, or you're brand new, or you're just building a business. And maybe treatment buns is something you could be adding to this service. I'm going to be sending this video to my stylist, hopefully, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to convince you that we should be doing these. And I don't even know that much about them other than it's a conditioning treatment and it's packaged newly and differently.
All right, let's break this down real quick. All right, so
Okay.
here's the TLDR, right?
Logical, you said.
A treatment bun is this. Like you've heard of women putting their hair up in that style called a bun.
Yes.
And you've heard of man buns.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you know what a conditioning treatment is. You know what a deep conditioner is.
There you go. I'm talked into it.
So you then, when you pull your hair up into a bun, you're supposed to use some kind of pomade or mousse or gel or spray or something. You put some kind of product in your hair, you pull it up
Okay.
in a bun and lock it in, and you're good to go, right? So the
Right.
treatment bun is, instead of using a retail product, you're using a deep conditioner. And
Right.
then while your hair is still sopping wet and got the conditioner in there, you're pulling that up into that bun style.
I'm sure it's not sopping wet.
Sopping wet, dripping, water everywhere. You just look like you got out the
Leaving,
pool.
they're leaving the salon with this treatment, right?
And no, and it's not just the salon. People are doing this now at home.
Okay.
And not, well, yeah, you would do it at the salon. No, actually, you know what? I take that back. Dear Lord, if anybody's doing this as a service at the salon, stop it right now. There should only be, yes, there should only be crazy at-home stuff being done that we have to tell the client stop doing.
Tell the general public what a treatment bun is. Like you had explained to me.
No,
Yep.
that is what a treatment bun is. So
You
you're
basically
pull your instead of using product to style your hair up into a bun, you're doing it with a deep conditioner, and then you're pulling your hair up into that style, locking it in, and you're walking around all day
all day.
with this treatment in your hair in a bun, and then at night, by the end of the day, you rinse it out. Or conversely, you're putting this in, you're going to sleep with it, and then you're waking up in the morning and then you're rinsing it out. But the treatment bun style trend
Sounds great.
is to leave it in your hair for hours on end and then rinse
You
it out.
talked me into it.
And this is why it's trending, because of yahoos like you on social media.
What am I missing? It sounds great.
Okay. It does sound great, doesn't it? It sounds really good, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And easy to sell.
And super
fun,
easy.
And trending. And everybody's doing it.
And a bun style looks good. I personally do like seeing a girl with her hair up in a bun.
There you go.
Seeing a dude
with
his hair up in a bun looks goofy as hell. I still don't like that. But
you don't like what?
A man bun. Guys.
Oh,
when guys pull their hair
I'm
up in a
not
bun.
fond of the man bun either.
That's
if
not
they
for
gotta
me.
put the word man in it to justify that it's supposed to be on a man, I think that is half of the argument that it probably shouldn't be on a man.
Right.
That's the whole that one we can agree on.
You know what? We should do a whole thing just about that.
Maybe, but we're going to alienate all the men and people who like man buns. And we've already done that. So let's just get back to the...
No. So, okay. All right. I understand it sounds good. I understand you're convinced. Okay. What happens with hair extensions? Why do we recommend people to go to sleep with wet hair with hair extensions?
Not go to sleep with wet hair.
Oh, not go to sleep. Okay, so why do we not? So why Bernard, do you not recommend people? Why do we not do it?
So the bun, the treatment bun we talked about, when you said some people are sleeping in it, I wasn't going to go that far and say you should sleep in it, because I don't necessarily think you should. I don't think it's going to be as bad. But when you bring hair extensions into the mix, I'm sure you have more than this one example, but I don't know if I would recommend a treatment bun with somebody wearing extensions anyway, because most hair extensions, not all, but most hair extensions shouldn't really be pulled up anyway, because they're put in a natural fall, a small grouping of hair or a whole row of groupings of hair in a downward position. And when you pull it up, especially in the first week or two of having them put in, it can be a little painful. And if there's pain, there's most likely damage happening, and you're pulling the hair in a way that it shouldn't be pulled. And a bun's going to aid in that. So I don't know if I agree with a treatment bun in extensions, especially in the first week or two. But if that hair swoops down and around, and then you can get it in a little lower bun on the back of the head, you probably could, and I wouldn't be against it. But I think you're going to go into more than that one reason of how.
I got a lot more. I have
go ahead.
more. Okay. We were at the American Hair Loss Council not too long ago.
Yeah.
And one of the big questions that we kept getting all weekend was about traction alopecia.
Okay.
So, and
for those of you that don't know, traction alopecia. So first of all, what is traction? Traction is the separating, like when you have, it originated with doctors where you have pain in your neck or your spine and it's compressed, and that traction is when they pull it apart to allow space between there so the bones don't rub together and allow new fluid to go in there. Any kind of pulling is traction. And so with extensions, well, let's talk about alopecia. Most of the alopecias are some kind of autoimmune deficiency or problem, and doctors don't really know why we lose hair, and they call it alopecia areata, a little area, totalis, universalis. Basically, alopecia that you lose hair in places, and we don't really know why. And then us hairdressers gave a name to alopecia, and the doctors do know why. It's our fault, called traction alopecia. It's where hair extensions done incorrectly or wrong, or the client doesn't take care of them and does some things wrong, leaves them in too long in a lot of cases, and the extensions pull the hair out of the head. Usually it's wefts, because it's a track, a long row, like a train track, a train wreck. You should call it train wreck alopecia. But that whole row starts to pull hair out, and you have a bald spot or track on the head, and they call it traction alopecia. there's no doubt that comes from our field of doing extensions badly. But
Okay.
what does that have to do
All
with the
right.
amazing treatment bun?
Put hair extensions to the side for a moment. Bookmark
Okay.
that. What about tight ponytails, tight braids, tight buns, tight
They're
twists?
done all the time. They're done anyway.
And
People
that's
put,
good and that's okay?
what are you saying that no woman on the planet should ever, or man,
I'm
should
not
wear a
saying that.
ponytail
I'm not saying
anymore,
that.
ever again?
That's
They
not what I'm
already,
saying.
they already do it. People are wearing ponytails and buns and updos, and there's no doubt hair is made to grow down. So even when you put it in a low ponytail in the back, it's a little off of where it wants to be, and that's why when you let your hair out of a ponytail, you're like, ah, oh, that feels good. When you do it a little higher, it's like a bigger that feels better. So there's no doubt that the more off of straight down your hair goes, it goes back or straight up, starts to cause a little tension on the scalp and it's not comfortable. But people already have to, in the military, girls have to wear their hair up or cut it short. In as nurses, in restaurants, to keep the hair out the food, they have to wear their hair up or a net over it. So people already wear their hair up pretty often, and their scalp kind of gets used to it. And some people can do it more than others. So adding conditioner to it instead of gel or products, why not?
Okay. What happens to the hair when it gets wet?
Able to stretch more.
It is able to stretch more. Yeah, sure.
What's
Um, and no, I mean that is one of the main things is that it's able to stretch more, which means the hair follicle, the cuticle, the cortex, all of the hydrogen bonds in the hair, it's all breaking down and it's becoming more fragile. And the when the hair is wet, it inflates like a balloon, it expands. Yeah.
so
So now,
when a bun style is done, I'm not a big updo guy, so I'm gonna ask here. Updos are done on dry hair, even if it's done with gel or mousse or hairspray, and you're comparing a styled bun being done mostly on dry hair compared to this bun being done on mostly wet hair. Is that the difference you're
well,
comparing
yeah,
here?
you're putting conditioner through the hair, so it's going to keep the hair wet. It's going to keep that moisture locked in that hair live. It's not drying out. It'll eventually dry out. But now what happens when the hair is wet and it blows up and then you pinch it off because you're tying it off, both ends in between the tie or in between the knot or however you pin it, you've created a crazy pinch point when the hair is wet like that. So what's going to happen? It's going to snap that hair. You're going to cause major breakage. So how is that a good thing?
In a bun,
Mm-hmm.
there's no rubber bands.
So how do you tie off a bun?
I guess there's one maybe at the ponytail place, and then it's swirl around in some bobby pins. So you're saying that that one rubber band wherever it goes in, that's a good point. That it should
And
be.
you're using the hair itself to wrap around itself to tie it off. So you're basically making a
Oh,
big
that's
old
not
knot with
tight.
your hair. That's
I
not.
get.
It's not
I
tight
like
when the
what
hair is dry. But what about when it's wet and the hair is expanding and stretching?
I like where you're going with the original tie off. Where how is it tied? So I would say silicone rubber band over something a little more aggressive, maybe even a scrunchie or something softer to hold it before you start swirling around in a big bun, and then bobby pins over more aggressive holding. But it does dry eventually. You're right. Maybe it doesn't because it's all kind of compact in there and it's held to stay wet all day. I'm not sure which, but I just I think a lot of girls go to work with their hair in a ponytail when it's wet on purpose because that's the lazy way to, not necessarily lazy, but lazy, fast, efficient, get out the house quick, and they do it anyway and they run off. I think some hair cannot take ponytails ever, dry or wet, and that is where some breakage comes from. No doubt, finer, thinner hair. But I think medium to coarser hair, I don't think it's going to be a problem. So I don't want to be the one to say, just do it. It could, yeah, you might be right on some of the finer, thinner hair, but I even think then, if you're careful with what you maybe don't use a rubber band on finer, thinner hair. So that is a consideration. But I just don't see the still don't see the problem. What else you
Okay,
got?
let me poke fun at you a little bit. Well, it's not even poking fun. It's actually a reality that you have to deal with. Being down south where you are, you have 10,000% humidity at all times, right? And that's on your dry season. That's not even during the raining season.
In the summer, they'll say we have 103% humidity. I thought that was a swimming pool. I don't even know how you can have more than 100% and not have to swim. I don't understand that statistic, but you're right.
I don't know, but I've been down by you in the summertime and my sweat started sweating. So I
But
know
it's not
that
sweat.
much.
It's just the water in the air. It sticks to you, and you think you're sweating.
It's insane. Then my question becomes, how do you deal with the frizziness that the hair turns into because there's so much additional moisture in the hair all the time?
Well, that's a benefit.
How is
Your
that a
hair's
benefit?
Well, because I think that the biggest challenge you might have with this treatment bun is the fact that it dries. Because you're going from an expanded state in a clip or whatever, and you're restricting it, and then when it dries, it doesn't have anywhere to shrink, maybe, but I don't even think that's that big of a problem. But with the high humidity, I think it's going to, first of all, the conditioner is going to hold the hair down and not be frizzy, so the humidity is not going to make it frizzy. But the humidity is going to help keep the hair damp longer, so it stays in the same state with conditioner or treatment or whatever you put in it, protein. It's going to stay on the hair longer without drying out.
So having your hair just be wet and thinned out and blowed up like a balloon and weakened state all day, that's a good thing.
All day. You're protecting it in a bun. It's not hanging, it's not being brushed, it's not being pulled on. So
you never scratch your head throughout the day.
I'm scratching my head right now.
Right. Okay.
So
you never get it
caught
caught in anything.
You can't caught. No, it's in a bun. It's protected. Yes, it could happen, but you can't tell me that a treatment bun is worse than hair extensions.
It's way worse than hair extensions. How?
We may have to agree to disagree at the end of this one.
Oh no, hair extensions protects the hair. It wraps around the hair. It puts it like a security blanket. It's like a cup of hot cocoa or a cup of coffee that you're drinking. It makes you feel good. Make you happy.
If it's done correctly, styled correctly, taken care of correctly. If you've got extensions and you pull it up into a treatment bun, well, that's a different story.
First of all, pulling hair extensions up into a bun by itself is
no matter what,
is a tricky business.
Right, shouldn't be done,
Having
but it is.
Wet hair extensions and trying to pull that up and then trying to do it as a treatment bun. Oh my!
But it is done too often. Yeah, so I'm actually excited about this treatment bun situation, especially since it's trending. I'm so excited about it. I shared this 2 guys chat on my personal Facebook profile because I'm going to share the link with my stylist later and be like, look this up, find it on TikTok. You guys need to be doing this in the salon. I hadn't even heard of it. You don't know social media more than me. These hairdressers of mine, you on it less than me, and you found it. I'm impressed because I hadn't even seen it or heard about it. You know what? Just talking about it, you just know this phone here is going to be popping up all these treatment bun. Oh, look, right now. No, not really. But I'm going to have all kind of treatment bun information.
Google knows what you want to
Google
listen
knows.
to
It's listening now. So I'm going to have all kind of research to do soon.
Right. What happens? Well, see, you always have warm weather, but up here in Chicago,
we have 2 or 3 days in the low 20s this week for the first time. Yeah, 3 days ago it was 70 degrees here. Now we're in the 20s.
So then, what happens when your hair is wet and the skin around your neck and behind your ears, that part of your skin is cooling down, but then the rest of your face, the rest of your skin is all hot because the sun's beating down on it. So now you got a cold spot and a warm spot, and you got 2 different areas of your body conflicting with temperatures.
What?
Do you catch a cold? Do you get sick?
No.
You don't? That's not uncomfortable? You don't get a headache from that?
Your mama was lying to you.
Bull.
You can't get a cold by going outside with wet hair. That's a myth.
Oh, but you can get a headache from it. That's science.
Well, I just had a meeting with my staff earlier this week, and I said, "You can't come in here right now. I'm on a video. You know, the kids are off school, so I got my 9-year-old with me. Go back, go back, go back to your iPad. My goodness, don't interrupt me. What's that? What'd you say?
Carson's the best, man.
Oh, I know. He
Carson's-
he wants to be a YouTuber when he grows up. It's like that wasn't even a job when I was a kid. And I'm like, well, you can be a YouTuber, but you can't steal my platform, buddy. You could be your own YouTuber. He wants the easy route, you know? Take the hard way. Do it for a year with nobody following you like
it's
we did.
smart. It's smart.
What was I saying right before this?
You were
Headaches.
calling you were
Oh.
calling my mama a liar.
Ooh. Mine too. By the way.
And
Because,
RJ's getting a headache just from listening to us.
so I with my staff earlier this week, we had a meeting, and I said, "What things?" It's funny how this plays right into this. What things did you think as a kid was illegal or was the truth until you got a little older and you found out that your parents just either they didn't know or they flat out lied. Like my mom used to tell us that having the light on in the car while you were driving was illegal, that we get pulled over. Turn that light off. That's illegal. The police are going to pull us over. Because Carson, do not talk again while I'm on this live. Oh my goodness, children, huh? So I, so many of my staff, he just said that's what you told me. He thinks I didn't tell him that. Maybe my mom did or my wife, but I think it's hilarious that people think that a light on in the vehicle is illegal. And a big one is for me that was related to hair is my mom always said you can't go outside in the winter with wet hair because you'll catch a cold. And you know, there are some small parts of that may play into it. You know, maybe you're a little colder, and if your immune system's down a little, you're gonna, you know, be less likely to fight an infection if it comes your way. But a cold is not just there, ready to jump on you necessarily because your hair's wet. And
Because
boy,
they're
when
already on you to begin with.
probably. But when I was in high school, I had so many friends then that started going to school with their hair wet, and I'm looking around like, ooh, they're all going to be sick tomorrow. I'm like, how can these kids be going to school with their hair wet? They're going to catch a cold. And it's like, it's not true. It's not true. Some people have higher resistance than others, and maybe going to school with your hair wet causes you to build more immunity. You know, I don't know, but I just don't buy into a lot of those kind of things. So when you're talking about wet and warm, I'm sorry. You might as well just put that in your list of clear color.
Wow, shots fired, sir. Okay. All right. All right. Wet hair causes dandruff. Excessively wet hair or extendedly having wet hair will cause dandruff.
Myth.
Myth. It's science. I want to get a dermatologist. Does anybody know a dermatologist that we
Yeah.
can interview on here?
So that's a whole other topic. Dandruff is what is dandruff? Dry skin?
Is it dry skin, or is it the activation of the little dust bunnies that live on your scalp that go to war and you know, suck everything up like those termites sucking up the tree, dries it out, and because
Right.
it dries
So-
up all the excessive moisture.
So that's what I was going to say, because with hair replacement, we get to see a lot of skin on the head looking white for different reasons. Sometimes dandruff, like the kind that falls off your head and ends up on your shoulders, that's got to be sloughed off dry skin.
Some of
You
them,
know,
sure.
and to me, that's often people who don't shampoo their hair well enough. They're not cleaning the scalp and the hair, so they're not
That's
getting the
one
dry
part
skin.
of it.
Right. So I would say that these treatment buns would be helpful in that situation. It's going to soften and loosen that dry skin on top over some time. Might even lubricate that dry skin enough to come out when they shampoo because they let it soak longer, like a dirty floor. You let some water soak on a dirty floor a little longer, that dirt kind of loosens up and comes off easier. So that part I think could be beneficial. Now, on the other side, I'm not sure, because I see what you're saying, because sometimes we take, and it's more noticeable on darker skinned people, when we shampoo the hair, but we use 99% alcohol. We shampoo. When we're using Dawn, we're trying to cut all the oils, scalp oils, product buildup. We're using 99% alcohol to dry it up so that the adhesive sticks better. And then at that point, sometimes their scalp is white and flaky, and the whiteness of the skin shows more on a darker skinned person. And the darker they are, the more it shows. And at that point, it immediately looks like dandruff, but it's not coming off because it's their skin that's dehydrated because we dried it out so much. And so I don't know how a treatment bun is going to dehydrate skin.
You can overdrink, can you not?
Overdrink?
Yeah. Can't you get overhydrated?
It's not going to make your skin white. I think you can get overhydrated and die. But when you said overdrink, I thought you meant alcohol. People get dehydrated when they overdrink alcohol, but that's a different chemical reaction.
Water.
More water. Overhydrate, you think is going to cause dry skin? Are you making stuff up here now?
I'm telling you, I don't know what they're called. I'm not a doctor. This is why we need a dermatologist. But there are dust bunnies that live in your hair. They're like little bed bugs in your hair that exist that we don't see. And they get activated with moisture, and they start eating away at your skin, and then they start crapping out the excess, and that stays on there, and that's what flakes off. And it only becomes prevalent when you excessively hydrate your hair. And it's more noticeable when you go to sleep with wet hair and wake up with it, and then you're just like shedding. Okay, fine. You don't want to believe me on that one? It's okay. I'm gonna find a dermatologist that we can interview. What about shedding?
I'm gonna send this video to my dermatologist friend, see what she ends up saying. I should
tell her. She'll laugh because they're not called dust bunnies, but I don't know what they're called. But they're little microscopic little things that live on your hair.
What were you gonna say about shedding?
So shedding, how many hairs a day do you shed?
Too many. I used to shed none, but I'm starting to shed more, and I think I'm starting to lose my hair, and it's starting to get to me a little bit.
Okay.
But forever I've been saying what I learned in school, 100 roughly, but then I read some internet things that say the more recent studies were that it's more like 30 to 50, but who knows? It's a lot of freaking hairs. A lot more than you would think falls out of your head every day.
So then,
and that's average.
And that's average, and that's when your hair is nice and strong and full. So
you think if you keep it wet for a long period of time, it's gonna shed more?
Yeah, it's thinning it out. It's weakening your hair shaft. You're just asking for more thinning.
So if I don't believe you here, I think that one will stop a lot of people from.
How can you not believe me?
No matter what I believe, because people are going to be like, "Oh, if my hair's wet for a longer period." So you're saying conditioning treatments should be done in a shorter period of time in the salon within a 10 or 20 minute time frame. Don't put it in their hair and let them leave. Let me give you the only argument here that weighs in your favor a little bit from my end. I believe in professionalism, and I can't stand to send a client out of the salon with anything that they need to do or finish. I can't stand calling a client and saying, clean your hair before you come in for extensions. Or sometimes they say, tell them not to shampoo their hair right before an updo. I need a couple of days of built up product for the updo to stay better. Really recently cleaned hair doesn't stay as good. I hate any of that advice to a client, because I don't think a client should be part of the professional paid for service. I don't think they should be doing any prepping. I don't think they should be doing anything at home. That's the only thing that I will put in your favor is, like, I think all of this, I think if you're going to wear a treatment bun, it should be done in the morning, come back to the salon in the evening, and we'll finish up the service. That's what I'm going to put back in my favor. I wouldn't say sleep on it. I wouldn't say wash it out yourself later and do what? Dry and style your own hair. But I know that a lot of people don't do that level of professionalism that I like to do. I always prep my own clients for extensions. I always finish my own clients. If they want to leave it wet hair after a haircut, it kills me. But in some cases, I had a few clients through the years that want to save a few dollars or save some time, or they say, I always let my hair dry naturally. I don't blow dry my hair at home either. All I want is a cut, a trim, or whatever. And let me go. I'm just going to just do this, especially curly hair. You know, I'm just going to fluff it a little over the next couple hours and let it dry naturally. Okay. Even that kills me because I'm like, I can use a diffuser and get that same look, but we need to get it to the finished style because that's what I do. It's what I get paid for. It's the right thing to do. So letting them leave is the only thing so far that that you've got me on your side with. This is just unprofessional.
You want people to walk around with neck pain and shoulder
Oh
pains and things like that then
neck
too?
pain from a bun?
It's wet hair. It's wet hair.
So heavy. So heavy. My hair is so wet. I can barely hold it up. Is that what you mean? From the weight of wet.
You don't think that's a thing? Do you realize? All right, you know what? All right, here's a list. We're going to get a dermatologist. Now we're going to get a chiropractor too. Okay. For every degree your head leans more forward or backwards, it's the equivalent of an 8-pound bowling ball weight that you're putting extra stress on your neck.
You are grasping now.
I ain't grasping for nothing. I know.
What else is on your fiction list?
All right. So how do you explain to all these people who painstakingly went through college to learn science, to develop all these ingredients and to develop all these products? They didn't go to the parties. They didn't get the girls. They didn't do anything just to develop these products that have instructions that says you got to rinse this out after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, after 20 minutes. How are you gonna justify not following the directions and leaving this stuff in for hours?
Yeah, let me see those comments below. How many of you hairdressers, you included, follow the directions to the T? No.
No, I don't follow directions. I make my own directions.
Let's just make a list down there in the comments. Who puts Sweet and Low in their chemical products or their bleach? I mean, because I'm pretty sure that's not on any of the directions anywhere. Who puts bleach or color under a dryer when it says not to? Who mixes their bleach too thick or too thin to make it last longer or stay in place better? I mean, that's a pretty weak one for our industry because we don't follow the direction.
Okay. So then you are all for do-it-yourself stuff.
Not do it yourself, although they are going to do it themselves. But I think a treatment bun, because I do here. All right, Mr. Chemical Guy, help me on this one. I'm not good with the chemistry, but I know when you do treatments or conditioning treatments, people say you should use protein or not. I don't know. There's two different main things you should or shouldn't use. So if people are going to do it themselves or people are going to do it at all, which one should they be using or not be using?
All right, so that's the first sensible question or thing you've said this entire time today. All right?
Go ahead. So tell me, because you know more about the chemistry of it, and I know that there's certain things you shouldn't put in your hair for longer periods of time.
So it depends on the situation of what you're trying. It's situational. Well,
Your favorite word.
Because it is my favorite word, right? And if Jess is watching this, she's gonna freaking kill me. She hates it because that's all I ever tell her all the time she asks me a question. If you need strength, if your hair is weak, then you need protein. So it would normally be finer, thinner hair? Not necessarily, because finer, thinner hair can still be healthy and strong. It's just the diameter of that cuticle is thin or fine.
But without this, I know you were doing this assessment, which is why people should be doing this in a salon and not at home. But what would you say is...
So you need elasticity, you need strength, you need... what is it? Texture, density, and porosity. So yeah, you either need a conditioning treatment for strengthening your hair, for the elasticity of your hair, or for the overall condition of your hair to balance it out so it can retain moisture properly, not expel it and not retain it, overly
Which
retain
one's
it.
the safest one to do with the least amount of damage, even if you got it wrong?
Not a protein one. Protein ones are
Not
dangerous.
I thought protein was the damaging one, right? That's the one people are like, no, you don't need protein. That's just, and they go into all this negative stuff. And I thought, I just never use protein because I don't want to remember or
You
figure
have
out.
to use it properly. If you over proteinize your hair, you will actually get it from soft into brittle. And if your hair
Brittle.
was already brittle to begin with, then you gotten soft because you put in the right amount, but then you go excessive, it actually reverts and it becomes brittle again because it's over proteinized.
And that's one of the things where people would say, oh, you know, you've got your conditioner, but then you've got your treatment, and it's a protein treatment, and you should only use it this many times or this often. And people would think, oh, if I'm only supposed to use it once or twice a week, more must be better, right? And that's the one where it was like, no, too much protein can make your hair brittle. And that was a tough thing for me to grasp in the early days of doing hair. So I found I didn't want to send people home with protein because they would never listen. They always thought more is better. So don't, to me, it was like, just don't sell protein. And I thought that's the way it went, but I didn't want to say it wrong on a live video. And I knew you would know the answer. So what are the chemicals or the words you're looking for on a conditioner bottle, to even for hairdressers to know, to use on someone's hair if they just want to take the safe route and make somebody's hair feel better in the short term?
Moisture and hydrate would probably be the safest ones and the most
Moisture.
universal one. And anybody can use hydration, anybody can use moisture. But when
Just
you
read the bottle, and if it's
'cause if
doing
you see
moisture or
things-
hydrate and it does not say protein, that's the safer route to start with until you understand protein better.
Yeah, because if you see
Would
things
say.
that say like fix, restore, repair, what could be another thing for protein? Yeah, restore, fix, repair. You know, things like
Restore and
that.
repair is usually protein.
Usually, yeah,
Okay.
because it's going to
Even
rebuild,
though,
restructurize,
even though you
strengthen.
can't repair dead hair. In my
It's like our glorious streets of Chicago. They come in with the little tar patches and they try to just kind of fill in the potholes in the street.
we got the
time.
same thing in Louisiana. I think we got more potholes.
Yeah, but they let the cars run it over to smooth it out. They don't even bother smoothing it out
They don't
themselves.
even pack it down. Huh?
They don't even pack it down. They're so freaking lazy.
So I'm excited that we talked you into the
You
treatment
did
buns.
not talk me into it. If anything, you've reinforced that making yourself into a tossed salad at home is a terrible idea. Oh, yeah, okay. Do you walk around with salad all day? What happens to salad after 3 hours? It goes bad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So then
Are you
the
saying
conditioner
that-
goes bad.
So you're saying that the conditioner doesn't continue to condition over time, so it's just kind of a waste?
It's a complete waste. A conditioner's
so-
lifespan is 20 minutes. What is going to happen after 20 minutes?
Right, but it's not gonna catch on fire or anything.
Yeah,
it's not gonna.
Yes, it is. It will catch on fire. You will be a smoking hot mess. Call the fire department. Look, you
So
will
listen.
have limp hair that's dead. It will be flat on your face. You'll never have any volume ever again.
It'll be too flat. So as a kid, you run out of products, you know. And I was doing this style that was like sticking straight up as a teenager, and I had this spiked hair, and I was using the hard gel, but they didn't have the soft gels, pomades. They didn't have any of the soft products that held your hair in place. Like this, I can move my hair around, but it still stays. Like I can do that, and it'll stay up, or I can flatten it. You know, they didn't have that when I was a kid. So we had basically little different levels of hairspray, but it was just harder, really hard concrete. You know, it was all hard, and then
Aquanet
gel.
for the win.
yeah, and then gel, and the gel was, you know, it was pretty hard, even the lightest of them all. They might be called styling lotions for the older ladies getting shampoo sets. It was a light hold gel, watered down basically. But then you've got these rock hard gels, and so something in the middle. And I loved my gelled hair, and we are out one day, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? Well, I had accidentally put conditioner. You know, I shampoo and condition my hair one time, and I don't know, I guess I was doing it in the bathtub and kind of forgot to rinse it out one time, got out, dry it off as a kid, and then I'm like, oh man, I wonder if I can just, it ended up drying really hard. And I didn't realize that conditioner could dry. And so from then on, I realized, hey, in a pinch, I could get my hair to look like it has gel in it when I was then. So this one day I do. We run out of gel. I put conditioner in my hair. I style it all up. And I don't know how hard it's going to get, but it does get pretty hard. And I think this was the beginning of the treatment buns because this was 40 years ago, you know? And I was, yeah, about 37, 38 years ago. I was so impressed with how good now I got very thick, coarse hair. It's hard to damage my hair. It wasn't in a bun. It wasn't in a rubber band. I wasn't breaking it off or restricting it. It was just sticking straight up, and a lot of oxygen could pass by all the hair. So it dried really fast, and it dried really hard. And I thought, oh, goodness, that's way harder and wetter than I expected it to look, and kind of impressive. If you touched it, it did start to look dry. It wasn't quite as good as the gel. But then that evening when I got home and I washed it out, my hair felt amazing. And I don't know what I had in it. It was just whatever conditioner. My mom was always a hairdresser, so it's probably a professional brand. But my hair did feel amazing for a few days. So that's one more win for the treatment
because
bun.
You actually used conditioner for once, not because you left it in all day. It's because you actually conditioned your hair for once.
You're saying that even 10 or 20 minutes would have did the same thing.
What is the number one thing we hear from clients a lot is, I want shampoo, but I don't want the... I still see red.
I still see red. That's number one.
No, I want to buy the shampoo, but I don't want to buy the conditioner. I don't want my hair to go flat. I shampoo my hair. I don't condition my hair. I never condition my hair. I don't want my hair to lose the volume or whatever, right?
Right.
Most people, but then go to the store and buy a leave-in conditioner spray, or go buy some kind of oil, or they'll buy something, or they'll go into the fridge
something and to loosen, detangle, soften, but they don't want to go flat.
But they don't want to use actual conditioner. They want to do all these other things and do-it-yourself stuff.
That's a good point. We should probably do a whole video on conditioner, because not all conditioner is conditioner. Like we just kind of differentiated protein from hydrate, and the difference in why people think conditioner just flattens their hair because they use the wrong one. That would be a good one to use, and that kind of plays into what we're talking about here. That's why I wanted to talk a little bit about the protein, because that's the only one I could see a danger in leaving in your hair all day if your hair is already brittle and it doesn't need protein, and you add it all day, then you're going to have damage. But then that's just like doing a bad extension, like somebody getting bad extensions and then posting all over the place. Extensions are terrible. Extensions are damaging. Nobody should ever wear extensions because you had a bad experience. Because one person had a bad experience, nobody in the world should do it. Same thing with the treatment bun. I think there's a way to do it, like I did in the 80s. There's a way I didn't have the bun, but I think there's a way to have the treatment bun and have good success. And I think if it's trending, the reason I like it is from a marketing standpoint. I think that if people are seeing it on TikTok, I missed a K there. If they're seeing it on any YouTube or shorts or stories and they want it, why wouldn't you charge them and do it? Sure, you could do it your way and say, well, let me talk to you for half an hour while it's not good for your hair and waste all this time of doing 4 more treatment buns, or just put it up on 4 people. Make that money on 4 different people, send them out the door and give them a choice. I'd like you to come back this afternoon and we'll shampoo it out and blow dry and style your hair. Or you can do it yourself or sleep with it if you want. I don't think it's going to be enough damage that it's going to, like you said, it stops working. So what? It stops working. A lot of it's mental. They wear it for the rest of the day and they're good. Just don't use protein. That's what I get out of this whole talk. You can wrap it up and end it because we've gone way too long for a treatment bun.
I will continue to tell my clients not to do it because I want you to still have hair on your head when you come back so I can actually do my job and have a job still. And I don't want all your hair to fall out.
Fly on down to the New Orleans area to get a proper service.
Yeah. That's your choice. That's your choice. So if you want to lose your hair, go to Louisiana so you can get a hair replacement system. If you want to still have hair to color and cut and look decent, then come to me in Chicago and I'll continue to do your hair properly. So yeah, with that said, thank you all for listening and agreeing that treatment buns suck. It's not a good idea. No, we're still going to be split on this one. Right. Listen to the guy who wears pit vipers. Guys, people, hit us up in the comment section. Tell
to
us.
put in a bun.
Oh, it's getting there.
I'm going to do a treatment bun.
You're going to do it. We'll catch you all next week. Merry Christmas, everybody. Have fun, enjoy, and we'll catch you.